seeds of both good and bad are planted inside of us, and our minds can be looked at in as soil, which can be seen in the parable of the soil or the seed. I just got off the phone with a friend of mine, and we were discussing when it comes to healing, steps to healing when it comes to past hurts, forgiveness, and how to work past that stuff. I've done a few videos here and there, but I want to elaborate a little bit more and retouch on some of the videos I've done over the last few months. So, for instance, like with forgiveness, Jesus said that we are to forgive 70 times 7. If we look at just the spirit of the message itself is just to continually forgive until you have gone past it. The hurt no longer affects us, and that's not an overnight thing. Because whenever something happens, like I was mentioning to her, is that every single day we go out and about, and seeds of both good and bad are planted inside of us, and our minds can be looked at as soil, which can be seen in the parable of the soil or the seed. We see that the man goes out and plants different things, and Jesus used it was used for salvation, but if you take the idea of it, it can be used for anything as in like how we're to grow, and I'll elaborate on that a little bit here. Let's say you go out and about and you go to the store or whatever, and without even knowing it, little bits or little seeds of discourse gets planted, and a thought comes into your head or something like that, and or a godly thought gets planted in your head too. Most of the time, unfortunately, the negative ones are planted inside, and the more we think about it, the more we meditate on that, it grows and it grows until it sprouts, just like any other plant. How Jesus spoke about the sower, whenever you plant something and it grows. Whenever we meditate on something, on a thought, on an occurrence in our life, it grows and it sprouts eventually. And as it sprouts, depending on how long we meditate, if we just kick it out of our minds, we rebuke it however you want to think on it. It goes, if we rebuke it, we throw it out. It doesn't grow because it's no longer in the mind, no longer affecting us. But if we continue to think on that thing and that idea, it continues to grow because we're watering it, we're meditating on it. And so as we do that, it, like I said, it sprouts, slowly goes up, and if we see and we think about, for instance, a desert, we see we read about deserts in scripture where there is no fruit of the land. The fruit of land is a plant of some sort that sprouts and produces fruit. The fruit is whether it's just grass or if it's an actual like a vegetable or fruit that brings forth something that we can eat. But grass can also be seen as a fruit of the land because it shows that there is nutrients and soil, and it also shows that there's water. So again, we apply that same concept to an idea, and once that seed sprouts and comes out of the ground, it's resembling some kind of fruit. And that is the basic, the very basic idea of whenever we are showing some kind of fruits in our life, how we'll respond to something. Even if it's just a little bit. There's a saying out there that if for someone who's discerning, if we just listen to someone, they will tell us exactly where they are in their life based on how they talk. And that is the fruits of what we've meditated on and what we've rejected. Because if we reject something, sometimes they'll show, sometimes they won't. If it was an idea that was planted and we just threw it out, we won't show any idea. It has no consequence to us. But as we think on something, it produces the fruit. And if we continue to let it grow into, like, let's say, a tree, the full-grown tree is going to be difficult to remove. Because if you go out to, let's say, your backyard and try to pull up a weed, the deeper the weed is, the more the bigger the weed, shall I say, the more difficult it is to pull up. And that's why it's said that we need to forgive instantly, or else that stuff will continue growing and continue growing, and it'll become more and more difficult to remove from ourselves, from our head. Now, let's say, for instance, we have let a indiscretion grow inside of us until, it's bearing fruit. We hate the person, wish them death, etc., etc. Obviously, those are not good or not godly traits. They're not godly fruit towards whatever that was. This could even be a fear, too. In order to go after that ungodly tree inside of our head and inside of us that's showing fruit, ungodly fruit, mind you, but showing fruit, we have to start going after it. Let's say it's for unforgiveness. We won't even realize that we're producing the fruit, because we're not aware of it. We're not cognizant of it until we start going after certain things. And the Lord says, all these thoughts, all these negative thoughts towards this person or towards this event, you need to get rid of it. What is that? What have we been talking about? It's a tree that grew up in your mind, in your heart. And now it's produced a fear. It's produced unforgiveness. Whatever it is, it's there. And so whenever we are going after this thing again, let's go unforgiveness. I worked on that thing all year, last year. As we are working on that, the Lord will have you say different things, because He might even bring different perspectives to you. It's like, oh, this person sucks at this, or they can't be trusted with this, or they hate everyone here, or they only deserve hate. All these different things, all these negative, ungodly things, all ungodly thoughts towards that person or towards that event. All those are their fruit, their manifestations of that ungodly thing. And what the Lord will say, He did with this man, I wouldn't be surprised if He does this with other people, with you. He will say, okay, what about this in their life? What about this in their life? I want you to bless this person. I want you to say a positive thing regarding that person, regarding that event, whatever it is. And slowly but surely, He will have you, or whoever is watching this, He will have us start saying these little things, releasing them, just like how we have with the parable of the widow going to the king. That was her form of trying to get judgment, but at the same time releasing it. So we are to go to God, release it to Him, work with Him on a regular basis, daily basis, to get rid of this thing. And as we're doing that, we're chopping off the leaves, the branches of this tree that has grown inside of us. Cutting it down, working at it slowly but surely until we get to the base of the tree. Sometimes I say the base of the tree is the most difficult. Sometimes it's the roots. But start working at the tree. Start working at however and whatever manifestation the Lord has you do it. That could be, could take long, could take a few months, it could take a couple years. But you continue to work at it. You continue to work at it until you get to the roots. And as you work on this thing, you will find it fascinating how that hurt, whatever it was, touches and manifests in your life in so many different ways. All these different perspectives in your mind. You'll find it very fascinating how it works and how it integrates into your life so much. As you do this, and you get past the base of it, you get past the main trunk of the tree itself, and you get to the roots, you'll start working at it, and it's like you think it's finished, but it's not. But if you look back in your history compared to where you are right now, you'll find that you've made so much progress, but you have to be cognizant and mindful not to let yourself get back to it and let it start growing again, because it will. But as you start working on get past the trunk and start working at the roots, and you might have already be aware of like certain things that caused it, but in order to continue to work at the roots, you need to continue to let it go, give it to God, forgive, say different things however He prompts you to say it. But those roots might also be referencing something from 20 years ago that slowly but surely added to it. But that person, that event, whatever it was, added to that thing that was planted in you 20 years ago. So not all these things, all these seeds may not be something that was an immediate thing, but it could have happened 20 years ago, and just that event, that person, whatever it was, just exacerbated and made it so much more worse and just made it skyrocket up. So as you go through this thing and you find, and most people have multiple of these trees. And again, this is all allegory. We don't really have literal trees in ourselves growing, but it's allegory. It's these spiritual concepts help us understand what is going on in ourselves. And that's why Jesus used all these allegories, all these spiritual concepts to help us improve ourselves and get past all these different issues in our life. So as you work on this thing, keep on working at it. And it's not until that event, that person, you feel no more response, like an emotional response, a mental response, whatever you want to look at it. You no longer feel that response to that person, to that people, to that event. You no longer have that fear. You no longer have that dread. You no longer have that anxiety. Whatever it is for you. You'll realize that, oh wait, I'm actually healing this much. Looking at, like, remembering that thing that happened, looking at this picture, remembering that event, going to that location that caused that traumatic event, no longer causes me that emotional response. I'm healing. And it's not till you actually no longer feel any negative things towards that event, that location, that person, whatever it is. It's not till then do you know that you are completely healed. Now, I'm still working on my stuff, but I know that once I get there, that's going to be the result. So I wanted to bring that to y'all. and kind of bring together all several different videos of different concepts that I was putting out there. But I want to bring it into you so you can kind of see how at least in that perspective, that's how it works. It is not, it's not brought together many or very often for us to see how that functions. We get all the different puzzle pieces, but we don't always put it together. So I hope this helped you. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And I hope you'll have a good one and see y'all next time.